Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. I could do this the way of there was a problem here, there was a problem here. There are much greater videos at that. Counted flaws, plot holes. Shadiversity might be the best one. He just starts numbering everything. And he did this on Friday. And I guess he has a great memory. Now I don't want to rewatch the movie again. That's where I am with it. I'm gonna leave the whole Disney trilogy. Let that die. Kill it if I have to. I'm done with it. I will respect the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. That's my Star Wars Mandalorian. That's my Star Wars everything. But when I do talk about this movie, I want to explain that I feel like this was J.J. Abrams saying F you to Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson said F you to J.J. Abrams in episode 8. Because when he got his story from J.J., gave him the outline, he looked at that and he saw what I know he saw now. He saw a repeat of Empire Strikes Back. You're gonna learn about your parents. You're gonna have the bad guys be on top. Like this was the script of episode 8, and that's what he did to it. Now I know that because I watched episode 9 right now, and episode 9 was basically Empire and Return of the Jedi crammed in one. In the first half, that's why it was so fast paced. First half of the movie, JJ had the Rey know who her parents were. Instead of Yoda teaching at Dagobah, it was Leia. That was actually a stand-in for Luke, who was the stand-in for Yoda. Unfortunately, Luke died in episode 8. But that didn't stop JJ from gotta hit these points, because that's how you do the Star Wars. That's how. You gotta have a snow planet. You gotta have a like that was his Empire Strikes Back. He really needed to copy every beat of that movie because that's how it works. He thought he would be really smart about it by introducing the Emperor Snoke in his first movie so that we'd never think he came out of nowhere. He thought it would be cool if you could introduce the Knights of Ren. So some villains that we could use our lightsabers to fight against instead of like the new villains who just sort of pop up like Count Dooku and General Grievous, even Boba Fett. He thought I could give him the Knights of Ren. But Rian Johnson just said, nah, took that lightsaber, nah. That's how he acted to JJ. But that didn't stop him. Now, when Rian Johnson course corrects, JJ should have course corrected. But nah, he needed to do his episode 5. 8, 5. They're interchangeable. It was a copy. Now, what happened in the second half of the movie? That was his Return of the Jedi. Remember how Luke had a secret to tell Leia that they were sister and brother? Well, what did Finn keep having to tell the secret to Rey about? He had to just repeat that story point. Remember the epic scene where Luke is in the throne room with the Emperor, and the Emperor shows him, look at all your friends. Well, they had to do that again over here. Instead, it was like a convertible rooftop that opened up. Rey, check out your friends. Cloud lightning. By the way, speaking of cloud lightning, when he was losing, the Emperor, according to episode 3, he has unlimited power. And when he was fighting Mace Windu, he kind of stopped his force lightning after he saw the damage was done. Whether you believe that that's his natural form or whether you believe the lightning effed his face up, regardless, he stopped shooting lightning. I mean, you telling me you couldn't have stopped shooting lightning at Rey? We just saw you use cloud lightning. Blast her from the convertible rooftop that you just made? Come on, Palpatine. So the other things that they copied from episode 6, it's so apparent. Like a good guy turning into a bad guy turning good. The babyface turn of Kylo Ren was similar to Vader, except Vader had wisdom, and when you do things for the sake of copying them, you won't have the same wisdom. Ben Solo returned from Kylo Ren, had his little force memory with Han Solo, which that's not how the Force works, but he was still the supreme leader at that point. I mean, at least Vader was dying. You can explain why things still went sour. But as we continue with the movie, at no point did the Knights of Ren know he turned good or anything. And everyone's still under his power. He could have just said, hey, everyone in the rebel, what's his evil group called? The First Order. First Order, I need everyone to hold back. We're going to regroup on planet X. Not Exegol, but anything. You still were the supreme leader. Just because you had that change of mind didn't mean they weren't going to stop listening to you. There's no wisdom behind it because we're just doing it for the sake of copying. Episode 6 was the ending with the musical tribute, because that's how you do Star Wars according to JJ. This was a man who, I'm sure that's why we got what we got with Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson was trying to say F you. Stupid Yoda dying in episode 6. I call him stupid because he never helped out. Apparently he can use force lightning from the dead. And Luke Skywalker apparently can hold the lightsaber in the middle of the day. Like, I thought he was back. I was happy. I'm like, yes, Luke's not dead. Wait a minute. He's holding a lightsaber and he's dead? That's the Force Ghost? What? I don't get it. Oh, they're ruining canon. So if Luke can affect the physical world, use the Force to raise that ship, which, by the way, the door of his home was a piece of that ship, so Rey can fly an unfinished ship. If he can do all that, then he better be part of the fight at the end. When she's got her 2 lightsabers and she's kind of stuck, he could have popped up and took Sidious down. He can hold lightsabers, can he? Come on, man. There's a reason why it was only you can influence people and talk to them. I knew I would get a bad movie because the main villain died in episode 8 in The Last Jedi. But I didn't know what we would crap on lore. Like, every character has been, let's just watch this. Lando Calrissian. Great cameo to see him. He didn't show up at the end of episode 8. He didn't show up. That makes him not a hero anymore. That makes him a wuss. Let's go to Leia. Of course, with Carrie Fisher's death, it's hard to criticize, but she's the master of Rey. Rey called her master. I mean, she's the biggest weapon that they have in the Resistance. She didn't help out in episode 8 when Luke's Force imagery had to show up and save everybody. She couldn't go on the other side of that door and said, "Hey, Ben, it's your mom." Like, come on, it worked over here in this movie. So they tarnished Leia. Yeah, Carrie Fisher died. It's hard to criticize it. I think Harrison Ford is fine. Yeah, no, his Force memory. Chewbacca's pretty good. He got his medal at the end, which is funny. But I also know that in canon comic books, he received the medal there too. Like, there's things that they did against canon that pissed me off. Who else kind of got crapped on in this? Finn to the wayside. Rose Tico. Look, as he's trying to say F you to Ryan Johnson by dismissing Rose Tico and dismissing everything, he's also using the things that they introduced, like the Force dyad, which just doesn't make sense since Snoke said he was the one who put them together. But at the end of episode 8, they still had that Force connection. So that's the contradiction in 8. But what makes it a contradiction in episode 9 is that if you created Snoke, Sheev Palpatine, then you should know about this Force dyad thing because he spoke about the Force dyad in episode 8. But you seem to be surprised that these two have this link. I'm happy that the two people were able to, Rey and Kylo Ren, they're able to do this because they're once in a generation. That's good. That doesn't fuck up with my canon and my lore, then I'll never have to ask why other people couldn't just transfer lightsabers from the back and material could pass through the Force. It's because they have a special connection and they'll have her again. Yes. Good job, JJ and Chris Terrio. But everything else you did was stupid. Continuing the lightspeed tracking, I guess TIE fighters can do lightspeed jumping, which shit's on episode 8, because if TIE fighters could have done that, they would have never, the First Order would have never asked, everybody return to all the TIE fighters, they're too far away. Remember when the two ships were going like this? Well, why don't you lightspeed skip, whatever the fuck that is? Why don't you lightspeed skip ahead to where all the Resistance people are, and don't wait for them to lose gas. You lose fuel. When we got hyperspace tracking continuing over here, that pisses me off. They tried to explain the Holdo maneuver by saying it's 1 in a million, but what improbable chance was set in place that couldn't be replicated in this movie? What were the events that were so highly improbable in episode 8 that makes it 1 in a million? There's no answer. You know my answer. I'll repeat it. And I'll even use what they gave me. In Canto Bite, we learned that they have weapons who sell to the good guys, weapons they sell to the bad guys, but it's the same manufacturer. So what they did over here is they made a ship that was jailbroken. You could go into lightspeed without having to calculate. There is no safety protocols or locked things that won't permit the lightspeed jump. But every 1 in a million ships, they create this. Every 1 in 1 million starships that are created are that. So the Radis, which is the ship that Admiral Holdo was using, that was the 1 in a million ship. That's what Finn was saying when he tried to shut up not Penny's boat. What's his name? We don't actually know his name. Dominic Monaghan's character, when he was telling him, yeah, that's a 1 in a million shot. That's what he meant. I love explaining things away. Like, I can explain shit like, Rey, why is she so powerful? Yeah, Mary Sue, you could say that. Like, why does she know how to swim in the rugged waters what the locals don't even know how to swim in? Sail, sorry. They don't even know how to sail that, but she can, even though she's from Jakku, a desert planet. Remember when she went to the Maz Kanata's planet for the first time, and she's like, there's so much green. Like, she don't know anything, but she knows how to sail. Mary Sue, yes, but also she's got a lot of midichlorians. And she's got the Jedi texts. Where did she learn to fly? Where did she learn to do force healing? Them Jedi texts. I just saw the Yoda character for Mandalorian use the healing, and I'm like open to see where that's gonna go. If she's got them Jedi texts, that's probably where she learned that. Is that where she learned force lightning? Probably not, but we're gonna chop that up to it's her family. I don't know. I can't explain that one. I mean, you gotta learn force lightning, whether your dad or your granddad was evil. And I bet her granddad had a kid, and when you have a kid in the force, this is why them Jedi said not to be attached. It wasn't about the love, it was about your offspring. There's just so many midichlorians because they live in every cell. So you know how it works. A cell got into a cell, and that's why the offspring always has so much more force powers, and it's dangerous. So that was what they were trying to hide you from, not having kids. Every other time we've seen it in Star Wars, like we look at Luke Skywalker being the son of Anakin, it's like, oh yeah, see, he didn't follow the rules, and look what happened. We got like a supreme Jedi. Thankfully, he was on the good side. Same with Leia; she can fly in space. I'm just mad at the long-term damage. I don't know how we're ever gonna get through hyperspace tracking. It used to be where you could be in a ship and skedaddle, and that was it. You escaped. But now we got to work around that and find creative reasons. Hence, light speed skipping. I don't know how we're gonna get past. Yeah, I'm doing exactly what I didn't want to do. I'm just mentioning things that I'm complaining about and starting a list. I don't like that I'm doing that. I would rather just explain to you why I was upset about it and how I thought it was an episode 5, episode 6 remake. That's the letdown of it. It goes to the leadership of Lucasfilm, having people make trilogies not understanding why. There needs to be a story that you play, and it shouldn't be a copy of episode 4, 5, 6. The story you do should be brand new. We're left with 2 fucking lightsabers in the sand, and I'm sure that Kylo Ren put his hands on her over here and he made her pregnant because that's how you do the Star Wars, so that someone's gonna start on Tatooine all over again. That's how JJ thought about it. He's like, yeah, now Rey's gonna be pregnant with 2 lightsabers and a thing. She's gonna have twins just like Luke and Leia. Oh, this is great. Nah, JJ, nah, Chris Terrio, that's not how we do it, man. Give me Mandalorian, something brand new. They just happen to all have the Force. I'm upset with the direction of this, and then the redirection of episode 8, but also no, we're doing it the way it's supposed to. Like, you cram 2 movies into one. Shit on lore. Like, apparently to get to them outer regions or wherever Exegol is, it takes a few hours of light speed, but apparently all the ships just happened to show up at that time because that's how you do the Star Wars. We needed it because it happened in episode 6. Horses riding on a thing that could have tilted over and just gravity would have took care of them. Yeah, I'm just naming flaws now at this point, man. Stupid Reylo kiss. I can't believe the message that it sends. This man was trying to kill you for how many movies? 3 movies? Slicing, going for you, and sometimes not trying to kill you. Like every time in the trailers we watched him, Kylo Ren, chasing her in that TIE fighter. At the time, we didn't know it was Ren. We just knew Rey would jump upside down, slice the wing of that TIE fighter, and I didn't know it was actually Kylo Ren, but it was. I mean, you couldn't shoot pew pew while you were chasing her down if your intention was to kill her. Thankfully, he survived the the wreckage, no problem. Not a scratch on him. But what's another time from the trailers? Even when they were advertising, I'm taking a final look at my friends. And I'm like, oh, he better be looking at a picture of Han, Luke, and Leia, Chewbacca and Lando, R2-D2, Mon Mothma. Like, he wasn't. He was talking to these characters who we really only seen him together with for about 3 hours, trying to learn Sith. He couldn't learn, he knew the Sith language. Now, the maker, Anakin, probably didn't know Sith language at that time, so I don't know how he knew that. I can understand why he knew the Jabba language, the Jabba the Hutt, the Hutts. He was speaking that language, I know that. he was living in Tatooine, so that makes sense as a language that he'd be able to translate. I don't know how he knows the Ewok language, so actually I should just shut up there. He just knows languages. What else was another moment from the trailers that we thought was kind of okay? Oh, they fly now. Apparently, on Star Wars canon comic books, the jetpack stormtroopers have been seen before. They fly now. What? Finn, aren't you a stormtrooper? Yeah, they fly now. You should know that. It's we give them. I gave them, the benefit of that doubt when I watched these trailers. If you watch my trailer reaction, I didn't comment on taking a last look of my friends because I'm like, oh, we don't know what's happening. When watch my trailer reaction when she does the jump flip on TIE fighters, I'm trying to give this movie a chance, but it's like not well thought out at all. Pisses me off because there are people who George Lucas took this shit seriously and tried his best to weave things. The prequel trilogy was great for that. Everyone laughs at I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating and it gets everywhere. I mean, why didn't he go to Tatooine, to that moisture farm? He never went back home. He don't like sand. I don't mind him talking that way. Like, it's space. I don't care about the dialogue. He's an alien, isn't he? He's an alien. That's how people talk in different places. I'm open to that. Same with Jar Jar Binks. He speaks weird. He looks weird. I don't need my dialogue to be like human being dialogue. It's fine. And I don't need Reylo. What was Reylo? Come on, man. It contradicts your own plot. Like, Finn was supposed to be in love with Rey according to your first movie. They detoured from that. But then all of a sudden, it's like the movie stopped and Reylo fans said, this is it, guys, this is it. He looks in her eyes. She looks at his. I don't want to be somebody without your body close. And they kissed each other. What? Come on, man. That wasn't Star Wars. And then he died. And she didn't even try to heal him. He just risked his life to save yours. You mean you couldn't say, okay, let me give him 50%, and well, at least we'll both be weak. We can help each other out, and we'll recover. Nah, man, she didn't even try to heal him back. She didn't even try to heal him back. Her own, like, Force dyad. Aren't they family? They're family, because Sheev Palpatine influenced the midichlorians in Shmi Skywalker to make Anakin. So they are from the same family. Isn't that weird? According to her, she's a Skywalker. When that random woman who just happened to be there at that moisture farm, no one's been here forever. Yeah, what are you doing here forever? No one's been here, right? Did we just need somebody to ask her who her family was? Is that what we were trying to do, Chris Terrio? Same guy who wrote, was it BVS? Batman vs. Superman? Stupid idiot. I don't like what it did to Luke. I don't like what it did to Leia. And Lando. Rey is just really strong with the Force. Let's just accept that. And hopefully we can leave this trilogy where it is. Like, I'm not going to watch these again. I'll watch Rogue One again. Rogue One was fine. But we all know what the problem is. Kathleen Kennedy at top. She's got 1 more year on her contract. There won't be a Star Wars movie in this 1 more year. So it's just time to waste. And it'll seem like she just stepped down. Unfortunately, the movie has like 700 million right now, which sucks. I'm like, the first week of Christmas break coincided with the first theatrical week of its release, so maybe that's why the numbers are so high. But I hope, now it's Monday. I didn't check the box office report, but now it's Monday, and I'm shooting this at, what is it now? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, so it's probably up on Box Office Mojo. But we'll see exactly how the weekend turned out. I hope negatively, man, because it's when they don't make money that changes start happening. And they realize we do need to course correct and tell proper stories. Looks like they're already doing that with Feige producing the next one. It won't be a trilogy. I'm fine with that. Look, Star Wars is more than these 3 movies. Mandalorian, Rebels, everything animated is golden. I love Star Wars for that reason. Anything comic books, clearly we can't consider to be canon or anything. I think the Star Wars comic, I just watched Marvel's poll. They said that everything they've been covering was between episode 4 and Empire Strikes Back. I'm like, okay, well, good thing I wasn't reading those comics because it would just be repeating things I already knew. I'm good with Star Wars comics. They can stay over there. I won't pick up those. But like everything I watch, Disney Plus is phenomenal. Like, this is still positive on Star Wars. I'm just negative on the movies that I don't have to watch if they piss me off. I don't need to watch them again, even if it would have made some seriously sick notes for me to take and shoot back at the camera. That's the video. Go watch this video over here that I'm pointing at that I will release on Tuesday. But if you're not watching this on Monday and you're watching this on Tuesday, watch this video. Yeah.